What's good, YouTube? It's LUISGUSTO. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're in a city that's the undisputed capital of the Midwestern United States. It was incorporated as a city in 1837, and its name roughly translates to wild onion. That's right, we're in Chicago, Illinois. And in this film, we're gonna be answering some questions like, what are the best things to do, best restaurants to eat at, and best areas of the city to visit? How can you best plan your trip to the Windy City? But before we get started, you already know what to do. Go ahead and finesse that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and be sure to join my Patreon community. I also have a trivia question for you guys. The Sears Tower is the third tallest building in the United States, but it once held the crown for tallest in the world. During which years did it hold that title? And with that all out the way, let's go ahead and explore Chicago. Chicago is located in the Midwestern United States in the great state of Illinois on the southwestern banks of Lake Michigan. The closest major cities include Detroit, Milwaukee, and Indianapolis. To get to Chicago, you can fly into one of two major international airports, O'Hare or Midway. You can also take an Amtrak or Metra train into the city. Finally, if you love road trips, you can get to Chicago via Route 66. Pro tip, if you fly into one of the airports, the best way to get to the center of the city is via CTA train, the blue line from O'Hare or the orange line from Midway. If you take a train into Union Station, you can hop on a bus like the 151 to get to the core of the city. Chicago is broken up into three sides: north, west, and south. There is no east side, that's Lake Michigan. Beyond that, the city is divided into 77 official community areas like Edgewater, the Loop, and the near south side. Finally, Chicago has more than 200 rich neighborhoods like Chinatown, Bronzeville, and Pilsen. Chicago is relatively flat. You won't encounter mountains nor hills. The city was built on land that was once prairie, sand dunes, and swampy marshes. The best way to get around the city is via public transportation, CTA trains and buses, not to mention divvy bikes. Millions of years before Magmile, deep dish pizza, and the first Cubs World Series, a massively enormous glacier occupied this land. It eventually melted to become the prehistoric Lake Chicago, which then receded to become today's Lake Michigan. The oldest and longest tenured occupants of this land include tribes like the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. Among their contributions to modern Chicago include finding a portage linking the Great Lakes with the Mississippi River, blazing trails that would become major roads like Clark Street, State Street, and Milwaukee Avenue, and of course, birthing the name of the city. In the 1600s, French explorers would become the first Europeans to step foot in what is now Chicago. Among them were Joliet, LaSalle, and Marquette. None of them built any permanent settlements. That feat would be undertaken by the founding father of modern Chicago, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, who built a cabin and a trading post near present-day Michigan Avenue, right on the banks of the Chicago River. Now keep in mind, back then, Lake Michigan was only about 100 feet away. Settlers from New England eventually began arriving, and in 1833, the town of Chicago was established. 4 years later, the city of Chicago was incorporated. Population boomed and development was rapid, but came to a devastating halt due to the Great Fire of 1871. The city quickly rebuilt, and 2 decades later won the nomination to host the 1893 World's Fair. The late 18th and early 19th century saw the birth of the skyscraper, along with several engineering marvels like reversing the flow of the Chicago River and using innovative building foundations to support super tall buildings in the swampy soil. The 1920s and 30s were a mixture of progress and depression. The end of World War II brought major changes to the demographics of Chicago. The 1950s and 60s saw white flight to the suburbs along with urban renewal projects. In 1983, Chicago elected its first black mayor, Harold Washington, and the 1990s was the decade of Chicago Bulls dominance, with Michael Jordan leading the way, bringing 6 NBA championships home to the Windy City. Throughout the 20th century, many industries flourished in Chicago, including architecture, academia, engineering, technology, printing, financial services, law, medicine, construction, fine dining, and much more. In the new millennium, Chicago continues to undergo major changes, but always retains its heritage, expressed best through its people. And for more Chicago history, check out the playlist linked below. Chicago is well known for its 200+ neighborhoods. Each one has a rich history and several qualities that make it a great place to visit. I've released several short films on Chicago neighborhoods, going into depth about each one's location, best restaurants, and things to do. Be sure to check out my Chicago Neighborhood Guides playlist. Ah yes, Chicago and architecture. Those two words are simply inseparable. Early in its history, the architecture of this city wasn't too much different from other major US cities. Victorian architecture dominated the skyline with a few unique standouts. The Great Fire of 1871 destroyed the core of the city, although it quickly rebuilt. The rush for fireproof materials and advances in engineering technologies allowed for bigger and better buildings to be designed. Architects like Burnham, Halliburton, and Sullivan were among the legendary designers who put Chicago on the map in terms of architecture. The Chicago School, as it was known, birthed the skyscraper, and even to this day, Chicago remains a mecca of architecture. With so many historic buildings in Chicago, where do you even begin? Well, for the sake of simplicity, here are 8 of my favorite buildings. The Chicago Theater is perhaps the most photographed building in the city. A throwback to the days when theaters were a huge deal, it was constructed in 1921. Marina City is one of the most unique set of structures in the country. Designed by architect Bertrand Goldberg to be a city within a city, these 2 towers went up in 1967. The Board of Trade building is actually the second structure designed for the Chicago Board of Trade. Built in 1930 in the Art Deco style, it famously played a major role in Batman as Wayne Tower. Constructed in 1889, the Rookery is Chicago's oldest surviving skyscraper and was designed by 2 of the Windy City's most legendary architects, Daniel Burnham and John Wellborn Root. The Rookery underwent an extensive restoration in the 1990s and is definitely one of Chicago's most unique buildings, with Moorish, Romanesque, and medieval influences. The Wrigley Building was the first office building north of the Chicago River and the first one in the city with air conditioning. Covered in shiny white terracotta, it was built for the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company in 1924. Though the Chicago Tribune no longer calls it home, the Tribune Tower is still one of Chicago's most imposing buildings. Designed in the neo-Gothic style and built in 1925. Today, it is being converted into luxury condos. The John Hancock Center was the tallest building in the city when it was constructed in 1969 and is certainly one of the city's most iconic towers. A striking example of structural expressionism, it is home to 360 Chicago and the Signature Lounge. Speaking of iconic buildings, the most recognizable in Chicago is the Sears Tower. When it was completed in 1974, it was the tallest in the world for 25 years until 1998. Today, United Airlines is one of its biggest tenants, and it is home to the Skydeck. In the famous words of Arnold Drummond, "What you talking about, Willis?" All right, we know when everyone visits Chicago, they want to try some deep dish pizza. Don't worry, we got you. There are several different options all around the city, but if you want something a little bit different, check out Pequod's in Lincoln Park. They're known for their unique spin on Chicago-style deep dish pizza because they have a caramelized crust that comes from baking that mozzarella cheese just a little bit longer. All right, so how about we go inside Pequod's and try their deep dish pizza? They just brought us our pizza. We got half pepperoni, half sausage. It looks incredible, but it smells even better. It's almost like freshly baked sweet bread from a bakery. It's nice and thick. Out there, that's all caramelized mozzarella cheese. This pepperoni looks incredible. Wow. Oh my God. That's an easy bite. You're not having to chew through it. It has a sweet flavor. The tomato sauce is really savory and great. The pepperoni, perfect. Oh my God, that is just like an incredible combination. I think this might be the best piece of deep dish pizza that I've ever had.
Here's my slice of pepperoni. I'm gonna eat it backwards because I really want to try the crust. That's what everybody's talking about. That is like a mozzarella stick on steroids. So delicious. You get the crunchiness of the caramelized mozzarella on there, the little saltiness of the pepperoni. Wow, I'm in heaven.
Other than deep dish pizza, hot dogs and Italian beefs are 2 of Chicago's most iconic foods. We are at Luke's Chicago-style sandwiches right on Jackson Boulevard. We're gonna go inside. I'll show you how to order one of each. Hi, how are you? Could I get a hot dog with everything and a beef with hot peppers, extra dip, like completely soaked. All right, a perfect Chicago-style hot dog is an all-beef Vienna beef hot dog on a poppy seed bun with mustard, onions, relish, sport peppers, pickles, and 2 tomatoes. Absolutely no ketchup. I don't care what you say, no ketchup. Let's go. It's perfect. 10 out of 10, 100%, A++, gold star, Stanley Cup, World Series trophy. What more can you say? All right, here we have the Italian beef sandwich. This is Chicago's signature sandwich. I like it soaking wet. That's how I've always enjoyed these sandwiches. It's what sets them apart from other beef sandwiches. That beef juice makes the bread extra soft. It's thinly sliced beef, and the jardiniere is hot without being too spicy. To me, this is a perfect sandwich. Whenever I'm traveling, I'm always looking out for the best coffee and tea spots in that city or region where I'm gonna be staying.
We're here at Intelligentsia, one of our favorite coffee and tea places. I got myself a black iced tea and Louis got himself an iced coffee.
There's one right here on Randolph and Wabash, but you can find them all over the city. Perfect for a hot summer day here in Chicago. In Chicago, we love our rooftop bars, especially in the summertime. Right now, Narissa and I are at the J. Parker, the rooftop bar of Hotel Lincoln, right in Lincoln Park. You can see behind us is Lake Michigan, and we got a couple of nice cold drinks. Cheers. Comes to things to do in Chicago, my #1 recommendation is to subscribe to my channel because we bring you the best of Chicago so you can experience this town like a local. And with that said, here are some of the most popular things to do in Chicago. One of my absolute favorite things to do in Chicago is to take a river cruise. Today we're taking the architecture cruise put on by the Chicago Architecture Center on Chicago's First Lady. You go to all 3 branches of the Chicago River. It's so much fun and it's totally worth the price of admission. You're gonna love this cruise. Come on a day like today where it's sunny, a little bit cool and breezy. You may even get a chance to grab the mic and share what you know with the crowd. All right, so the first star represents Fort Dearborn. Second star, the Great Fire of 1871. The third star, the World's Fair of 1893. And the fourth star, the 1933 World's Fair.
Hey, all right. Thank you very much. Made this tour. It doesn't happen often.
Navy Pier is one of the most popular things to do in Chicago. It was completed in 1916 as Municipal Pier number 2. And over the years, it has served many different purposes, including a training facility for the Navy during World War II and a college campus for the University of Illinois at Chicago. In the mid-1990s, it was fully renovated and restored, converted into a tourist attraction, and now millions of people from all around the world visit Navy Pier every single year. The Field Museum traces its origins all the way back to the 1893 World's Fair. It's Chicago's natural history museum, and if you love dinosaurs, ancient civilizations, and meteorites from space, this is the place for you. The Art Institute of Chicago is a must-visit during your trip to Chicago. You've got everything from antiquities to Renaissance art and contemporary art by celebrated artists like Andy Warhol. The Garfield Park Conservatory on the west side of Chicago. This is one of my favorite things to do in the city. It is absolutely free, and I do highly recommend leaving a donation. It's been around since 1908, and it's one of the biggest in the entire country. It's definitely one thing that you should check out during your visit to Chicago. Lincoln Park Zoo houses many animals like rhinos, giraffes, and monkeys. Admission is completely free. The Bean at Millennium Park is a must visit for any social media influencer. And don't forget to take a stroll down Magnificent Mile as you shop to your heart's content. Did you get the answer to the trivia question? The Sears Tower was the tallest building in the world from 1973 until 1998. In the comments below, let us know what city you'd like us to visit next. And if you enjoyed this Chicago travel guide, go ahead and finesse that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I would really appreciate it if you shared this video with your very best friend. Be sure to check out my Patreon page for exclusive community and bonus content. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time, but for now, I'm out of here. Peace and blessings.